eBay friends, you have landed on episode number 265 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is April 15th, 2026, and my guest is Wendy in Connecticut. Announcements. I'm very excited about my new project that has launched. I'll tell you about it at the end of the podcast. So now let's hear from Wendy.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back. And I have Wendy, who is kind of known as the jewelry lady on the Facebook group. How are you doing this morning, Wendy?
Good. Happy to be back. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, we were looking through the records, and you were on as a solo episode back in 21. And then you were part of the estate sale episode, which was in 23. So we're just kind of checking back in to see what you've been up to and remind us where you live.
I am in Connecticut. I'm actually currently in Southport. I grew up in Westport, so next town over at the moment. I'm renting over here. So
Okay. Well, hey, renting is the way to go, especially if you're a single lady, then you don't have to fix anything. You just call the property
yeah.
management. I love that part of it. So, do you want to catch us up a little bit? What's been going on with you and your life and your eBay business over the last few years?
I think you probably noticed I took a little bit of a hiatus from the group as well last year. So we sold our childhood home in August of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was sort of a reset after that. And I was just really exhausted. It was a 10-year journey of, caretaking parents, COVID, the house. I kid you not, my mom had a million items in that house. I still have a storage unit. It's not big, but I still have like silver and things that I'm just for right now keeping in case the price goes up. But yeah, it was just a really exhausting process. And 2024 was by far the hardest, just getting the house empty, getting it on market. We had a oil spill on the property, so
Oh,
it was chaos. I don't even know how we did it. We have no air conditioning. It was 100 degrees in our house.
did
It was
you lose both parents close together?
a year apart. So,
Okay, so yeah, I went through that too. Mine, I lost a bunch of people within 2 years. And unless you've been through it, it just, you don't realize the toll it takes on you
mm,
mentally, emotionally, physically. It's it's hard. And after you dealt with all that and then all their possessions and everything, and yeah, step back and take a break and regroup because it's just exhausting.
yeah, it was a lot. And for our sake, luckily for us, our dad passed before COVID. So then the journey was COVID in the house, lockdown in the house.
Right.
So yeah, our dad literally passed like end of 2019. So we came into 2020 thinking we were going to have a very different future. Well, hello and behold. So yeah, it was really long, but very life-changing, all good. But when you're going through it, it's very heavy, very emotional, all of the different things we had to handle and the estate as well. If sometimes I think, COVID and the estate were harder than the caretaking.
Hmm.
So just because my
Well, and
mom
it's
had so
it's
much.
you okay, well, we have to do this thing.
Mhm.
And you go to do it, whether it's the estate or the caregiving, and then it's five more hoops you have to jump through to make that happen. And it's
Mhm.
just a constant pull on your time, and it just takes up room in your head. Congratulations for making it through that and kind of pulling your life back together. Because is it just you and your sister, or are there more siblings?
It is. It's just me and my sister. My sister moved back to Santa Fe where she used to live before, and she wants to kind of settle somewhere out there. She's not sure. She's thinking Colorado. She's not quite sure where she wants to kind of get property and what's really affordable and what would be the best
Right.
thing. So I've
So
I've stayed here. This is really expensive, so I don't quite know.
that you're in one of the more expensive states. Hmm.
Yeah, especially this area. It's where I grew up. So it's where my parents moved, before I was born. So, they lived here their whole, young adult lives up to, so,
Well, yeah, and it's hard to leave the familiarity of where you know everybody, you have friends, you and it's just familiar, and then to just uproot and go somewhere that's not familiar, that's tough.
Well, actually, I lived in California for 12 years, so
Oh,
this has been more unfamiliar for me because I left, I graduated college, I moved to the city, lived in the city, and then I went out to California for 12 years and then came back here. So my life was in California and I moved back like not really knowing anybody. And I have,
okay.
community, but like it's been hard to kind of, develop friendships and stuff, especially with everything we were doing is very isolated. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
but yeah, so I don't have like a ton of attachments to this area, but I have certain things I do and certain things that are keeping me here at the moment. So I think, I'll stay in the Northeast. I'm not sure. The only other place I want to live is Europe, and that's not really viable.
Well, you never know what might happen. Some some handsome prince might sweep you off your feet
Yeah.
and take you back to his country, and you never
Just to
know.
Scotland, hopefully. I wanted to spend time in Scotland. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So recap when you got into eBay.
I sold a little bit in California, but not as a reseller. I think like most people, you probably just had an item, one or here and there that you just kind of put up. Like in the old days of eBay, that was before 2013. But then once I moved back here, we had our parents' collection, really with my mom's, my dad had stuff too, and it was just massive. It was everything. And we sold a variety of ways, but one of them was eBay. And so I had gone to work for a competitor when I moved back to New York, and that wasn't working out. There's just too much to handle. So I had to leave the job. And I was like, hey, what am I going to do? My sister's like, eBay. I'm like, okay. So I continued with the store I had, the Enchanted Fox, which is my parents'
Right. Okay.
well, I guess I call my parents' store. That's where I sell their stuff. And then in 2017, to save my sanity, I launched a store devoted to jewelry because I wanted something I was interested in selling. I'd been selling all of their things. Some were interesting, but some of it was just not my passion. I'm like, it's really hard to sell something you're not as enthusiastic about. And a lot of it is so much research because they were antiques and my mom collected so many different things. I had to become an expert in such a wide variety of stuff, like Japanese art, mid-century, and my mom, her focus was samplers and needlework. My sister handled a lot of that. So we had like 500 samplers in the house, but I
Oh
still
gosh.
I still have a case of thimbles, but the thimbles are valuable. There's some that are gold, there's some that are ivory that I can't sell. They're in
Mhm.
storage. They're really small and it's just too much. The hallmarks are way too small. So some of those things they're on the back burner. But most stuff is I have a very small storage unit. It's not like I have a ton of stuff. I have some artwork and that's it. And the coin silver spoon collection. So yeah, I started selling jewelry in 2017 and I didn't initially start on eBay with that. I actually started a Shopify store in Etsy because I thought this might be a better avenue for the jewelry. And Shopify didn't work out because it's hard to build an audience. I didn't
Mhm.
realize I was not going to have any traction with that. And then Etsy, it took about 3 months for my first sale. And I like Etsy, but it wasn't going to work long term. So I put some stuff at Etsy, but then I started on eBay and then I got my first sale and then just kind of kept on focusing on eBay for the jewelry. So about 9 years on eBay or eight and a half, because it's like
Okay.
late
Okay.
2017. So.
Well, your mom sounds like a very interesting person. What was her background? Was she an artist?
She went my parents met at the University of Wisconsin and after college she worked at the Chicago Art Institute, which she
Ah.
loved. Yeah, she loved that. And she was very much into Japanese art. She studied Japanese like watercolor brush paintings. We had a lot of Japanese influences in our house. And then my dad was in advertising and sort of food products as well. So there was a lot of relocation out to this area. I think he was working with like Post cereals and some American Can. I'm trying to remember the exact. It was before I was born, but I think American
Uh-huh.
Can was the company that brought him out to the East Coast here. So and then
Well,
got
for
into
her
real
to
estate.
have such a massive collection of needlework and art and just interesting pieces, I was like, yeah, she sounds like she has an art background.
She did, and my sister's a graphic designer, and yeah, so yeah, there's like an art
Okay.
influence in our house, and we grew up going to lots of things throughout the Northeast, like historic places. We'd go to museums, it's kind of very cultural stuff growing up, so
Hmm.
it did have a large influence.
Now, are you working like a regular job too, or are you just eBay?
I am trying to, because I've been working so much from home, and I did prior to moving back here. I worked as a speaker agent for 8 years. I booked speakers for events around the world, and
Okay.
half of it, because of where I was in the North Bay and had to commute to the South Bay, they let me work in the office 3 days and from home too. And that was kind of a nice balance of seeing people and then having home. But being home all the time is kind of driving me crazy. So I'm,
Yeah, I
I
can
like
relate.
I like the freedom of being able to set my own schedule, but not seeing people, the COVID era, the caretaking, it's been a long time of not really having a round of a lot of a people other than being out in the world as much as I used to be. So yeah, I've been applying for different jobs. I'd like to find something like 25, 30 hours a week
Hmm.
and then still do eBay. And then I'm also trying to work on some creative projects and move in some other directions as well. I think I'll always sell jewelry. It's just hard to do eBay full time. I don't want to be on the computer all day long, and it's just a
Right.
lot. I love sourcing and research, but I really don't like the photographing, editing.
Well, and when you're only eBay
Yeah,
and that's your only source of income,
yeah,
that's a little stressful
yeah.
because, some months are better than others. You can't really count on a certain amount of money all the time.
Okay.
So I get that. And it's good to be out and be social as well,
Yeah.
as much as you want, you know. Some people are like, oh, I'm with too many people all the time. I got to pull back on that. But it's a balance. Sounds
Yeah.
like you're trying to find that balance. So I love that coffee cup in your background with the cats
Oh,
on.
thank you. Oh, yeah, so this is one of the things I started was a print on demand, and I have to say it has been really hard to do. So that was a design that I created,
Oh, that's cute.
and I
Yeah,
have a couple
it's two looks like
tigers.
ginger cats with a heart in between.
Well,
Yeah, I'm a
I'll
cat
get your
person.
address after I'll send you one. And then this
Oh,
one, it's the love magnet mug.
well, my mug is what I found at Goodwill for $1 from the Eggs Up Grill. So I've started, I don't want to say collecting, but when I moved this time, I just really, I'm like, I'm not packing it, moving it if I can replace it quickly and easily because I'm going to be in thrift stores anyway. So I'm like, oh, restaurant mugs, just to make it a little more fun in the morning when I'm drinking my coffee. I'm pretending I'm at the Eggs Up Grill. So, okay, well, do you want to talk about some things you've sold recently? Have you gone in different directions? Are you sticking with the jewelry? What's happening there?
Well, so the jewelry sort of had a bit of a revival. So I did take a lot of 2025 off, to be honest. I was just exhausted. And I had about 300 items still. People may wonder why I have two stores, but I really wanted to keep the jewelry separate, even though I could combine it with my mom's stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I literally had about 300 items in each store that I just kept there and relisted throughout the year, but I didn't add a lot. So 2025 was kind of a bit of a, yeah, non-existent sort of business wise. Now I'm kind of getting back into it again. And I've had a lot of one of actually my best sale ever in January. So
Okay.
it was, and I knew you'd ask this, so I had to write it down. But I took a little bit less of a commission. So, and I know you may ask at one point about sourcing. This is a unique thing, and I'll explain it when we get to that, if we get to that question. But I was consigning jewelry for someone, and I had her jewelry. I had sold about half of it, but I had some of her key pieces, the more expensive ones, still listed because people would want to like lowball you and because they want to resell it. And I did still end up selling it to a reseller. She's an antiques dealer, but she must have a more higher venue that she can flip this. But it was three Christian Lacroix pieces. So it was two necklaces and a pair of earrings, and it was $2,600.
Oh, did you put that on the group?
I think I did. Yeah.
Okay, I
I
think I
might have
remember
put it
seeing
in
that.
the non 100 thing. But
I
I
know it's a
did,
lot to keep up with in that
yeah.
group of looking through. I don't look through every single thing. I just sort of glance over it, but there's usually 200 posts on the regular Money Making Monday. So that's a lot to scroll through, but
It is.
yeah. So what
Um,
was your commission? What percentage did you take?
I did normally I would have done 20% or 30. We had a different deal based upon this was my first time really doing this with somebody. I can explain that more, but I think I did 20% on that or maybe
Hmm.
15 because she was giving the money to her brother. And I'd
Okay.
had her jewelry for a while and
Hmm.
my focus had shifted with the closing of our house and all this stuff. And I kind of felt like, okay, I should have moved her jewelry by now, you know? So it was kind of like, yeah, I just sort of worked out a deal with her. But most of the other jewelry that I had was 20 to 30%. So
Hmm.
I know some people take a higher commission on consignments, and it was a learning experience for me. If I was to do this again, I'd only focus on the higher price jewelry. I had taken smaller stuff, and it was just like minutia. And a lot of her jewelry required repairs. My sister's really sweet. She repaired so much of it. They were beautiful pieces, but everything was like missing stones. Something was,
Oh,
and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I end up with 14 pieces just
well,
then?
and back to the commission part, some sellers do like a sliding scale.
Yeah,
On the really expensive items, they don't take as much.
yeah.
Or since jewelry's so easy to ship, you don't have to factor in time. Like if you were shipping 20-piece set of china or something like that, where there's some significant time involved in packing it. Jewelry's pretty fast.
It is, but I did a really lovely box. I went to, I think I got it at Home Goods or Michael's. Actually, I think it was Home Goods. A beautiful, like, really nice box. And I packaged this all beautifully, sent it to the woman. She didn't even leave a review.
Oh no.
I'm like, that's the
Well,
nicest packaging. I do nice packaging. I get nice, I just get like I have craft boxes, but everything's in
mhm.
burlap bags. And
That's a
I had
great idea. Yeah.
I had one person, she just my basic packaging, she posted a photo. She's like, I love this. It was so lovely to receive because I don't do the padded mailers. I kind of
Hmm.
just do a really just nice, simple, but eco-friendly packaging. But yeah, it was funny because I didn't get any feedback. I was like, okay, it's okay. But it was a really nice box. I
Well, and on
packaged
that,
it.
you know that you went the extra mile
Yeah,
and you made it beautiful. I always say no news is good news. So
it's true.
don't poke the bear and say, "Did you like this? Can you leave feedback?" I never do that because I don't want to encourage them to like be critical and well, it was good except this one thing and just leave it alone. So,
So I did want to add, because I think this is a unique way of sourcing, and I don't know if anybody's mentioned this, but this sort of fell into my lap, and I haven't pursued it really because I don't need more stuff. I have a lot of jewelry to sell. Actually, in case you asked about anything, I have like 6 trays of jewelry right here that I need to work on. But this woman, Betsy, it came about because I went to a gold and silver buyer here to liquidate some stuff. And I was mentioning I sell costume jewelry. It's like people come in here all the time and they don't know what to do with their costume jewelry. He started referring people to me and I didn't even have a
oh,
card. So people started calling me like, I heard you sell. I met with a bunch of people. So the cat is out of the bag. If you're near a gold and jewelry silver buyer, go meet with them, drop off your business cards and develop a relationship. I need to go back to them. I don't need to source anything, so I haven't kind of reopened that relationship. But it was funny because after that, I literally was getting calls right and left of people, and I met with a few. But Betsy's is the only jewelry that I took because other people, it was like they just weren't sure what they wanted to part with. Do I buy it all? Do I sell it for them? Because this process with Betsy was several years. It's not,
mhm.
not everything moves on eBay really quickly, and I'm trying to get her the top dollar. I'm not going to undersell her stuff, so I was holding out for the right buy, and she was happy with that sale. The jewelry was priced a little bit higher. It should have been like another 1,000. I think it was like 1,500 or so per necklace, or maybe 1,750. So, but at this
Well, that
point.
is a great idea because I've never thought about that. The gold and silver, you're talking about a store that's like We Buy Gold kind of
Yeah,
thing.
we have a few of them in this area, but there's like an independent one up the way. And I did have some silver I was trying to melt or just kind of do something with. And I brought it there. And, I told him I sold jewelry. And yeah, and lo and behold, I started.
So yeah, I bet they get all kinds of stuff they don't want to take on.
They
It's
can't
not
take costumes, they can't melt it.
right. It's
So,
not valuable enough. They don't, and it's their time. They've got to deal with it. So that is a very smart way to get some customers.
Yeah.
is the ones they don't want to take or they can't take.
Mhm.
And I bet they like having someone to refer their customers to. You always try to, if the answer is no, no, I can't do that, but I can do this. And then that gives them a way to help that person find a solution.
Mhm.
So good for you. So are you pretty much sticking with jewelry now, or are you doing other things too?
I am, as I said, I launched the print on demand last year, and that's been its own challenge to learn. And I won't spend too much time on that because I know your audience is probably not listening for that part. But
Well, no, everybody's looking for more streams of income. So are you doing it through Amazon?
no, through Etsy.
Oh,
So,
Etsy.
but
Okay.
it's a learning curve to I'm designing stuff with AI. You can print it on anything. I've tried mugs, tote bags, magnets. I have cute coasters too. I did the same design on a set of 4 coasters, so little
Oh, that's
coasters.
cute.
But it's hard because there's what 13 million, I don't know how many listings on Etsy, and you just get drowned out in that. And a lot of what sells on Etsy is personalization. It can be really simple, but a lot of wedding stuff, like you can customize like so and so, Emily and Jack, and their date, their wedding, and all of that. So it's a lot of customization that sells on
Yeah,
Etsy. And
I
I,
bought Christmas ornaments
Mhm.
customized with a very specific thing. It always comes out great, and I have no complaints, but I've never really thought about putting something out there. How do you know what to put in your design? Do you look at what's trending? Do you ask Chat GPT? How do you figure out what is in demand?
Well, this is kind of funny. Because of recent years and because of the way the world has been, I've been sort of on the sending out the love frequency out into the world. So
Good for you.
that has been that's love focused. So everything is sort of putting out like love themed products. Maybe, maybe that's not what people want for Valentine's Day. But I did sell, this is actually really cute. I'm sorry, it's in plastic wrap, but it's sort of sorry, it was taken out of its plastic. It's a journal, but
Yes.
it's called The Lovers. It's based on a
Oh,
tarot deck. So I
okay.
did sell one of those.
And for the listeners, that has sort of a
It's
drawing or watercolor of maybe Victorian style.
Yeah, it's sorry. I hope you can
It's
see all, but yeah, it's Victorian style, like Edwardian style, and
mhm,
then it's just a ruled notebook. But it's the quality, it's the printing because I've used Printify. So when you use Printify, there's like, so many different printers, and you have to learn like who to use, and you have to get samples. Some people don't, but I get samples of every product because they all print differently, the colors, the
right.
printing.
And I
It,
pick those up when
yeah.
I see them out
Mhm.
in thrift stores if they're not date specific, if it's just a journal or a planner that it's not for a certain year, but it's high quality. Maybe the cover is that fabricy kind of stuff. And I've sold those before. People like to do the what are the smash books and the journaling. And just because everything is digital now doesn't mean people don't want to write.
Hmm. Yeah, so and I think the next thing I'm going to try, and this has become really popular, and people may want to try this because I think there's different avenues. And I watched this guy. I know you're so very entrepreneurial. There's a young guy named Chris Corner. His last name is Koerner, and he has a podcast. He's on Instagram, but he just shows people making money in so many different ways. It's called the Corner Podcast or the Corner Office or something like that. But I don't know if you follow the flower letters, but they're on board to make $15 million this year. And it's a whole she started as one set of letters and now they have a whole team. But those are the ones where they recreate like a story set in another time and you get mailed a letter once a month.
Oh, okay, right.
So there's a lot of those, but what's become really popular is these thing called snail mail clubs. Like this has been the thing of the last year. And so
Okay.
people do their own artwork and they send a letter. It's like a very young audience too. It skews to the really like young, like 20s, something where they're doing stickers and things like that. They mail them out, but people have like 6,000, mailings a month and like $10 a pop. Whatever their take out of that is $7, $8. That adds up. One woman, she's making like 50,000 a month. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I've seen something like that where it's like from the grandparents to the grandchildren talking about their lives. And I personally love snail mail. When I go check my mail, 90% of it is just junk and it goes right into the recycler there at the mailbox. And to get a handwritten letter from somebody or something that's personal, because
Yeah.
we're all in those, where you get emails and it's just recycled content and everybody just copies you in, and I don't read any of that. Just in fact, I have started this letter writing campaign of, and I think this is because of all the deaths in my family, things I want to say to people while they're still here. And like I wrote one to my, I guess, ex mother in law a few weeks ago, and just, thank you for being such a good grandparent to my children. And I named several instances where, she was there for me, she showed up for me, she helped me with my babies. And, we haven't spoken in years because I divorced kind of out of that family. But, I want people to know this before it's too late. So I have several on my list of, thank you for doing this very specific thing for me. Years later, I appreciate it. I appreciate you. We may not be close now, but I wanted you to know this. And it's really more for me than for them. Just to, when you lose family members, there's regrets of you didn't say this and you didn't say that. And I don't want that happening anymore. So I'm on board with the personalized letters. And so those that you're talking about, how does that work? You sign up for a certain type of letter?
You can, like a lot of people, they seem to list them on Patreon, Ko-fi, or Shopify. They already have a following on Instagram. A lot of it's on TikTok, which I don't want to stay away from TikTok. It's
Yeah, I
just
don't
too
really do
much.
that one either.
But it is amazing the virality, however you pronounce it, of TikTok. Just put something on there and you just can kind of go into the stratosphere. But it's a lot of artists, like a lot of people that they may reproduce their work. If somebody can't buy it as a canvas, they'll reproduce it as a card and they'll mail that out. But the woman who, if you go to the Corner podcast, if you go to Instagram or his YouTube channel, Chris Corner, you'll see his interview with the woman in Texas. And she started just at her farmer's market and she just started sending out a letter of like kind of observations, a recipe card. And it grew. It just grew. I think she literally, she's running the business now with her husband and family. And no, it's really amazing. But it just grew out of a passion for wanting to connect with her community and share more and build
Mhm.
more community in her area. And so I think there is a return in this. AI is great and technology is great, but I think people are overwhelmed, and I think there is kind of a return to the analog era, or
Well,
even.
it's just more personal and it's real. There's so much out there, like the reels and stuff that those aren't even real people. They're AI generated grandmas and uncles, and they just, make an AI reel, and it's not even a person. And sometimes it's hard to tell. But I was like, I'm taking advice from something that's made up.
Yeah.
No, give me a psychologist. Give me somebody who really does this for a living to give me advice. But I
I
think,
don't.
yeah, I think we're going to start seeing a backlash to AI stuff because there's just so much of it. It's overwhelming. And
It is.
people want real connections, they want real emotions,
Mm.
and not just anybody can sit there and make up a grandma giving advice. Anyway, we kind of got off the topic of
Well,
eBay,
I'll
but
just I'll spin it back to jewelry, and because I don't think I'm going to follow through with this, so maybe one of the listeners or somebody who has a YouTube channel who already has a built-in audience. But I actually thought about doing one for jewelry, like my finds each month. My store
mhm.
is called the Treasure Fox, so like the monthly jewelry, and then going into a little bit of the history of the piece where I sourced it. But I actually I don't want to go in that direction. But yeah, I really think it's if somebody wants to run with my idea, because I don't think I'm going to follow through. And I think there's room, obviously, for more than one person to do it. But I don't think anybody's doing jewelry snail mail. So I thought about monthly finds and I did illustrations. I did a test one last night of an illustration of, I got these are Navajo sterling earrings. And
Mhm.
I did them as an illustration. I was like, I can go into the designer. So people get a mailing each month and they'll know about who this designer is. Somebody who's interested in jewelry, it would be a very specific audience. But you do you do an email, uh, a newsletter template, you print it out, and I could do snail mail, but I'd probably have to do that on Etsy. I don't think I'd do that on eBay.
What is do you mind sharing your Etsy store name?
Oh, that's closed. Oh, you mean my jewelry store?
Whatever you're doing on Etsy.
Oh, it's called Love and Bloom Shop Love. It's called Love and Bloom Shop
Well,
Love and
no,
Bloom.
I mean, you're on the podcast. You might as well. Talk
But my
about what your
jewelry,
other ventures are. People
my
like to investigate that.
but I
Yeah.
meant for jewelry. So like that's if I was to do like a jewelry snail mail, I would do that on my old Etsy store, which is jewelry
Okay.
related, because this one's like mugs and journals. I'm
Well,
about to do it.
you're
Yeah.
multifaceted. People on the group know you for your jewelry postings, but
Yeah.
everybody's multifaceted. I don't want
Mhm.
to pigeonhole you and it's like Wendy's only the jewelry seller. No, you're
It's
doing a bunch
okay.
of
That's what I
things.
tend to post. I didn't, I had a lot of huge sales at one point when I was in your group, and I didn't post them because they were my mom's stuff, and I didn't. I had one point. It was an astrological configuration. But I had like three mega sales in a row. This was years ago. It was my mom. They were old dental toolkits, like antique dental sets, and I had specific collectors. And then I had these shaker, the stereograph postcards where you
Yes.
get
Uh-huh.
the shaker ones. If you find the right ones, they're very valuable. And I found a collector, and honestly, they were like $1,000 or $2,000. I sold them for. They were shaker like stereograph
Like
cards.
Shaker, the religion.
Yeah, the images were shaker, and it's very
Okay.
collectible, and they were rare. Like the guy who collects them had never seen them. So
Hmm.
I didn't post those in the group because I was like, I didn't buy these. I didn't find these. These were my parents. So some of those like really large sales of my parents I never shared because I
Well,
just was
that's
like,
okay
yeah,
because it's still something that's sold. Those what sold threads
yeah.
are about sharing
Hmm.
what sold, regardless of where you got it. And just so other people can be educated, like, oh, I've got one of those in my attic. Or
Yeah.
a lot of times somebody will see it shortly after hearing about it or seeing it on the group. It just pops into their experience, like, I just heard about this. That happens all the time. So don't hold back sharing it. The fact that you did the work,
Yeah.
you photographed the item, you put it up for sale, you shipped it, that all
I
counts.
I'm a little worried. I probably shouldn't say this on the air. I'm a little worried the antique dental set was I.
Well,
Yeah, so my mom had two beautiful like antique dental tool sets. My grandfather was he collected them, and for whatever reason, or they were my great great grandfather, and they got we didn't somehow we never got passed down the tool set. My mom always wanted these, so I think when she found them in the wild when she was a collector, she bought them. And, of course, these were in our house, and I was researching them. I'm like, are these bone? What are these made out of? And I found a lovely man who bought one set, but I ran into another collector who was not nice. And unfortunately, he
mhm.
bought one set and he tried to buy the second one. He was trying to, wiggle on the price, and he knew what they were. And anyway, so one lovely guy, one not so nice buyer. But I honestly, to this day, I still think they were going to be put in jail. I don't.
Oh, really?
No, I don't know. I don't know for sure if they were or not. They look like bone. So, some were made with shell, I think. Yeah, this was years ago. But the funny thing about ivory is anybody who's selling it, it's antique. It's not anything new. We're not running out like,
Right. Like they didn't go kill an elephant last week to get that. It's been there. But I think it falls under some kind of governmental rule that
yeah.
you can't sell these products from endangered animals at all, regardless of how old they are.
I don't know if the collector knew. I still don't know because I identified it to the best that I could, and I thought it was shell or some other kind of bone. And I in retrospect, as I researched more, I'm like, okay, was that ivory? I don't know. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
that's a tricky
Yeah,
area and one that I would not even venture into
yeah.
because I wouldn't want it to be kicked out. eBay has
Mhm.
trigger words that if you have them in your listing, it
Mhm.
gets examined further and your listing can be taken down. And
Yeah, that happened to
in
me.
in 2020, the bad word was two ply because that was describing toilet paper that people were price gouging on. Well, I had some two ply cashmere sweaters
Mm.
and those listings got pulled because they had the word two ply in them. And I don't do that anymore. I don't use that word anymore. I just take a picture of the label that says it's two ply. So it's in a photo, and the search engine can't read photos, it can only read text.
Mhm.
So stuff like that happens all the time. And I just, I avoid any of those situations because I hear from people every week. oh, my store got shut down because of this. And they were warned and they knew
Mhm.
maybe they were using photos from a manufacturer's website, which is theft. You don't take your own photos. And they're just like, oh, I'm just going to risk it. I don't really care. It's okay. But no, it's not okay. If you want to make
Mhm.
money on eBay, you got to have your account.
Mhm.
So, anyway, long story. What is it? It's ivory. And what are some other things that are prohibited?
Oh,
Um,
I think turtle tortoise.
the tortoise shell.
Yeah.
I've seen shark teeth things. I don't
Mhm.
think that's a problem, but there are certain animal products.
To
Yeah.
beware. And I had in my jewelry store, I had a little celluloid carved rose. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it was listed, but there were other people who had the same brooch and they kept on taking mine down. And I'm like, this is not ivory. It says cellulite, but I think I used the word carved in it or
Oh,
something. They would not, for
something
the
triggered
life
it.
of
Yeah.
me, would not let it back. And I think even then it may have even been AI because I just could not get past this. I had to call eBay and I'm like, there's 20 other listings online with this brooch. This is not like an endangered animal. This is plastic. So
Okay. How many things are listed? Do you still have a store?
I
What's
do
going on
still
with
have a
your
store. I have
produce?
300 items about listed. I have about 100 items here to list, which I'm going to focus on after my taxes. That's my next priority.
I know. April gives me a stomach ache. Ugh,
I
I
was
know.
hoping to get them done by now, and that's kind of fallen short. So that's my focus. Once that, I'm sort of back to eBay full time and also still proceeding to look for, part-time or full-time work, whatever feels
So you don't
right.
really have to source anything. You have all this stuff left from your parents, and you've got things coming to you by referral.
Well,
Or
I
do
had
you just
not
go
the referral
sourcing because
anymore because I haven't
okay.
really focused on that. But I have jewelry that I bought last year that I just didn't list yet.
Uh-huh.
So when the fall comes by, when we hit fall, that's when a lot of the like church sales are and some of the
Right.
annual sales I go to. So I didn't really buy anything like the first half of the year, but once fall hit, I had like, 5 or 6 different sales that I went to. So I still have jewelry from then. I haven't listed that. So.
So you've got a good stockpile.
I have a decent stockpile plus the scarves, and that's one of the hard things about
Yes, you do well with those.
yeah, but I don't have a house anymore. So before it's one of the I have a 1 bedroom apartment. So going from a house to 1 bedroom apartment, we had my mom had we used to she used to hang up everything to dry. I grew up that way. I just liked that.
Mhm.
So it was lovely to wash scarves because I could hand wash the scarves and we had like 5 like, span this our garage like clothing lines to dry all the scarves on. Well, I don't have any ability to really wash and dry scarves here. It's just not room. Maybe my bathtub. So I don't, the scarves are in boxes. I'll get to that.
You had some good scores though.
I did.
$200 or more for, I'm trying to remember, was it Chanel or what was the brand?
I have sold a lot. Some Ralph Lauren does really well if it's collectible, Chanel, Hermes. But
Mhm.
yeah, I have some amazing designer scarves I have not listed. And I know people would be shocked when they listen to the podcast going, she's got items that are worth money she hasn't even listed. Like I know people kind of are like,
It's
why
a
are there's not
time
a
thing. Yeah.
it's not even that. One of the things I thought as we left our parents' house or we sold the home is that I thought I might get a first dibs account. It's hard if you don't have a brick and mortar store. You have to have a certain following, a presence to apply. I think they do allow non-store people to have an account, but you have to have a certain following and all of that.
Mhm.
But I have my mom's vintage Lily Pulitzer dresses, and I have some really
Oh,
high-end pieces that I can put them on eBay. But I thought, okay, and I know first dibs, not everybody pays full price, and we know the whole first dibs effect. But I have I have some beautiful scarves, but I have 2 key pieces. One was like a vintage handbag, which is really one of a kind. There's not that many
mhm.
left. And my sister found the be all end all of scarves for me a couple years ago. And it's I don't know if you're familiar with the guy who used to wrap the bridges, Christos. He used to wrap them in fabric. It was him and his wife.
Oh,
They
no,
were
I'm not.
so they did a project. It took 30 years to get it done in New York City called the Gates. It was, I think, in
Mhm.
the 90s. They had he worked with the New York, commissioner and to have this event happen because these were orange fabric gates that ran through all of Central Park, and you could walk through them. And this was he was very well known. Him and his wife had both passed away, but this was a huge project to get done, and it was fabulous. I mean, my parents went to it. I was in California, I think. I don't know where I was, but I wasn't where I was at the time, but I never went to it. But the Met did a scarf version of these, and one sold for $2,500. I've
Mhm.
only seen like three of them. I don't know if they were like really, really limited edition or people have held on to them. So I have the Gates scarf. It's in mint condition. So I'm like, I can list it on eBay. It might take a while to sell. Somebody oddly sold it for $50, but there's two sale on WorthPoint, $2,500 and
Oh
$50.
gosh.
So
Okay.
somebody didn't know the value. Yeah. So I would like a sometimes a little bit higher end venue, but it may be some point I just put them all on eBay. My
Well, I'm going to go
mom's.
back to your comment about moving from a house to an apartment,
Mhm.
because in this day and age, there's so much information on how to live in a small space and all the storage options. And because I'm on track for that. I'm I'm on track for simplifying my life,
Yeah.
living on less, and it's just less stress.
Hmm.
So I watch Apartment Therapy. I don't know if you watch that channel, but it's like my 200 square foot apartment in New York and all the things they do for storage. And even though you don't have a whole lot of inventory, but just something to consider. But the two rules are, whatever you put in your space, make it multifunctional.
Hmm.
So that ottoman, the lid comes off, you can store stuff in there, and it just, everything you do is like that. And minimize your possessions. Like, do I really need
Hmm.
this? And there's some great ideas on that Apartment Therapy site. I watch that at night when I have insomnia.
Is that
Just,
YouTube, Netflix?
it's
What is
YouTube,
Okay.
and it's called Apartment Therapy.
Okay.
And it's just interesting ways people set up their space when it's limited space. Like, this one lady was very into shoes. She
Hmm.
just had a lot of shoes, and she never really cooked. She just made sandwiches or went out to eat at the diner right next to where she lived. And so she used her kitchen cabinets to store her shoes. It's wherever you can put it. Or these people that live in RVs, and of course they're outfitted with
Yeah.
storage things, but then they also have their creative ideas. So I watch that kind of stuff a lot, because with inventory, I don't want it all over the place. I want it
Hmm.
tucked away. I know where it is, but walking in, it's not so overwhelming to see everything everywhere. And I call it clutter, but
Yeah.
it's draining. It's emotionally draining to have too
It
much
is.
clutter, and you're looking at it, you're thinking about it, and when things are put away, it's clear, and your mind is clear, and that kind of thing. So I know you're smart enough to figure out going from a house to an apartment. But
It-
for the listeners, check those out, Apartment Therapy, and just because it's great ideas for storing inventory.
Yeah, no, it is. I have my jewelry here on site, so I have a walk. I actually got a walk-in closet, which is nice. But I have a closet within a closet. So there's a smaller closet, which I don't know, people would put you stuff in, but I have that as my jewelry. So all my jewelry is in there with my scarves. But I have a storage unit for the stuff from my house that's still mine that I don't have room for in here, like all my
Mhm.
books
Mhm.
and then my parents' stuff. I still have paintings. I still have inventory from their store. So that's like whatever, 7 by 10 by 5. I mean, it's a standard unit. It's nothing massive. It's just normal size.
Right.
So, but
So
I go to visit that. I'll go at strange hours. Something sold. I have to run 2 towns over to pick up the item, come back to pack it. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
yeah, that's my concern too with storing anything
Yeah,
offsite. I've never done that in my whole eBay career. I just like having it with me, especially if it's just a question. Then
yeah,
you can quickly pull the item and answer them.
it's true.
And I know up there, you're gonna have bad weather and snow and sleet, and I gotta get out in that and go get this item. And
Yeah.
I don't really have that problem down here, but I just I guess it's like a control freak thing. Just, I want everything right here with me so I can access it very quickly.
No, people do ask questions. I had somebody the other day, and I call it my mom's store, and it was actually the stereograph cards, but they're ones I had of Switzerland, and I had photographed them, but not close enough that they could see the numbers. And they're
Mhm.
like, "Well, I collect these. Can you tell me what numbers are on those?" And I'm looking at the photos, I can't even tell. So I ran all the way to storage. I got them. They're really faint. I'm like writing in a message to the person. He didn't end up responding or buying them, but at least I know. And I do need to update the listing. So it was kind of like, okay, that listing needs some work there, clearly.
Well, we're getting to the end
Yeah.
here. And you're the perfect example of somebody who has a passion for reselling, and life just happened and you had to step away for a while
Hmm.
because you can only do so much. And when life happens and it weighs on you mentally and emotionally and physically, something has to get put aside.
Hmm.
So you did that and you came back and you're working through everything. And I just want to commend you on that, being resilient and also being an example in the group when you start posting again.
I have
um,
been here and there. And
yeah.
thank you. You're a prime example of resiliency, and you know, for
Hey,
everything that
we're all in
you
this together.
yeah.
So let's just support each
Yeah.
other. And one thing I like to put out there is when you need to buy something, go on eBay first
Hmm.
and support the community. And if we all do that, we all win. Yeah.
I do. I
Okay.
buy postcards. I bought some postcards the other day. So
Oh, good. Okay. So what are you up to this afternoon?
Um, well, I'm gonna run out and get some food. I have the whole no hot water issue going on, as I mentioned
Oh,
before the
right.
call started. Whatever's going on with the building right now. But yeah, I just need to tackle some things, and it's 70 today. So we've been all over with temperatures, so I want to get out and walk and go to the beach and just
Oh,
to the
you're near
park.
the beach. Good for you.
Well, I'm right in the water. I go to we're near Sherwood Island, which is a state park, and I have a whole walk I do there, or I walk around the
Good.
neighbor. I'm right by the water here. I live in a very beautiful setting, so it's really beautiful to walk even along here, but for longer
And that
walks.
is so good for
Yeah.
your mental and emotional
Hmm.
health to get
Yeah.
out in nature and the sun and just, let's see, it's already 79 here and it's
Oh
noon. So
wow. Well, you've had beautiful weather.
yeah, maybe I'll get out and walk down to the lake and take a look at that too. So thanks for the encouragement.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for coming on again
Oh, thanks
and
for having me
wish
again. And I,
you.
I hope, I know we kind of span so many different topics, but people, if anybody in the group is listening, you can always reach out to me for any jewelry questions or anything too. I know people have in the past, they've sent me direct messages. So people in the group that have way more experience and have sold more jewelry as well. So I'm just one of many in the group that sell jewelry too.
But
So
it's a community effort
yeah.
and it's fun to help other people. I love being able to give somebody an answer in 2 seconds. And, oh, I've been researching this, I can't figure it out. And oh, I know what that is. And it's very fulfilling to know that your knowledge is helping somebody else. So
Mhm.
thank you for sharing that. Okay, well, have a good walk and we will look for you on the group.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you, Wendy, for sharing your knowledge. You are quite the entrepreneur. Okay, now for my big announcement. Wendy and I talked about snail mail clubs, and I could not love this idea more. So I have created my own mail club. The best way to get the details is to watch the video about it on my YouTube channel. I explain all the details about how it works and show you some examples of the goodies you will get and tell you how to find it. You can also Google Suzanne's Happy Mail Club and you'll see the YouTube video right there at the top. I can't wait to send some happy mail to you. Next week, my guest is Donna, who has seen wild success selling vintage video games and pop culture collectibles. You may have seen her posts on the Facebook group. So we will hear from her in person next week. Thank you all for supporting this podcast and make it a happy week on eBay. Bye, everybody.